It's not about focusing on the negatives. It's about knowing the realities and leveraging the unfair advantages that we do have to help us live our best lives. Ash Ali. Life has a way of introducing us to the concept of unfairness early on. From childhood, we encounter moments where the rules seem to work against us, where the system appears to favor others, and where the outcomes don't align with our efforts. But what if I told you that the very thing that feels like your greatest injustice could become your greatest advantage? My story begins with what I once saw as an unbearable injustice. I was incarcerated for lying on federal documents that were intended to provide resources for impoverished women, but were fundamentally flawed in design. My lies were not for personal gain. They were an attempt to secure the financial means necessary to help those who had nowhere else to turn. But the system did not see my intentions, only my actions. And so, I was punished. At the time, it felt profoundly unfair. I believed in my mission. I knew my heart was in the right place. And yet the weight of the legal system came down on me, branding me as a criminal. Sitting in that cold, isolated space, I wrestled with the pain of my reality. My mind screamed, "This isn't right. It's not fair." But here's the thing about unfairness. It doesn't just come to break you. It comes to shape you. What feels like an unbearable burden can, in time, reveal itself as an unmatched strength. What once felt like a punishment became the very thing that propelled me into deeper understanding, wisdom, and resilience. At first, I resisted this idea. How could something so painful, so humiliating, ever be an advantage? How could being stripped of my freedom, my reputation, and my sense of security somehow work in my favor? But with time, I began to see it differently. I had been given something no classroom, no book, and no seminar could provide: an inside view of struggle, pain, and survival. In that experience, I found a deeper connection to the very woman I had sought to help in the first place. I now understood, not just intellectually, but personally, what it meant to be powerless in the eyes of the world. This realization changed everything. I became more empathetic, not just towards those who were incarcerated, but toward anyone who had ever been judged by society. I saw firsthand how the world makes snap decisions about people based on a single chapter of their story, and because of that, I vowed to never judge a person by their worst moment. Through my own suffering, I learned to recognize the pain in others. I became more patient, more open, and more willing to listen. I no longer assumed I understood someone else's journey until I had walked beside them. My capacity for understanding deepened, and with it, my ability to truly help others in a way I never could before. But empathy wasn't the only gift my unfair experience gave me. It also gave me fearlessness. When you've been through public scrutiny, when you've been labeled and judged, you stop fearing the opinions of others. You realize that falling doesn't mean failing. It means learning. This fearless mindset changed the way I pursued my dreams. I no longer hesitated to take risks or to step outside my comfort zone. I had already lost so much. There was no longer any room for fear to dictate my actions. And because of that, I became bolder, more determined, and more relentless in my pursuit of impact. My incarceration also taught me the power of time. When you are forced to slow down, to sit with yourself, and to face your choices, you gain a clarity that few ever experience. I had time to reflect, time to strategize, and most importantly, time to transform. That transformation extended beyond myself. It reshaped how I mentor, lead, and inspire. I now have the ability to reach people who feel hopeless, who believe their mistakes define them. Because I've been there. I don't speak from theory. I speak from experience. And isn't that what leadership truly is? Not perfection, but perspective. Not avoiding failure, but knowing how to rise after it. My unfair experience gave me a voice that carries weight, a message that resonates, and a purpose that cannot be shaken. I now see that my unfair advantage is the wisdom that only pain can bring. It is the ability to connect with those who have been counted out. It is the courage to stand in my truth, unashamed, knowing that my past does not disqualify me. It prepares me. And this is where I turn the question back to you. What's your unfair advantage? What is that one thing that once made you feel powerless, but now gives you strength? Maybe for you it was rejection, a door that closed when you were desperate for it to stay open. Maybe it was heartbreak that shattered your world and forced you to rebuild. Maybe it was failure that humbled you, redirected you, and made you hungrier than ever for success. Whatever it is, I challenge you to reframe it. Stop seeing it as a setback and start recognizing it as a set up for something greater. Your unfair moment holds a gift. It has given you resilience, perspective, and depth. It has shaped you in ways that comfort never could. It has taught you to fight, to innovate, and to overcome. But the advantage isn't just in experiencing it. It's in how you choose to use it. Will you let it break you, or will you let it build you? Will you let it silence you, or will you use it to amplify your voice? I stand before you today, not as someone who has avoided hardship, but as someone who has learned to turn it into power. And I believe the same is possible for you. Your unfair advantage is waiting for you to claim it. It's waiting for you to see it for what it truly is, a blessing in disguise, a teacher in unexpected form, a launch pad in the middle of what once felt like devastation. So don't run from it. Don't resist it. Lean into it. Let it make you wiser, stronger, and more determined. And when the world looks at you in awe, when they wonder how you rose from what should have buried you, you'll know the answer. Because I chose to see my unfair moment as an unfair advantage. Now take your advantage and do something with it. Own your story. Stop hiding from the past that shaped you. Use your wisdom. Turn your lessons into action and impact. Finally, inspire others. Show them that they too can transform their pain into purpose. Because at the end of the day, what once felt unfair may just be the very thing that sets you apart. Now go and find your unfair advantage. You've got this. Peace and blessings, Dr. O.